Oh. Hi, everybody. I'm Jackson. I'm a junior at Winona State. This is my testimony. Just a few things to run through before I start. I grew up in a Christian house. My mom's a Christian, my dad's a Christian, so there's that. Talking about Jesus like every Sunday, it was always, I knew about him, but I didn't know him. Another thing to run through, in high school, I was like really, really big, and I had body image issues, and that continues to this day. Obviously, I lost about 80 pounds, so yeah. And then the last thing is, I've always tried to latch on to the inadequacies. I always tried to latch on to things due to the inadequacies and the feelings of not being enough. Like I was saying, my body image issues. At the end of high school, I fell in love with working out, and I quickly, like anyone who's ever lifted a dumbbell, I developed body dysmorphia. I still struggle with that. It won't go away anytime soon. Got to college, like a lot of people out there. I started to drink, started to smoke, started to do, all the college stuff. The drinking and the smoking, it eventually, because I eventually stopped working out as much, and I started to gain weight, and the body image issues turned into me not wanting to go to class because I was so disgusted with how I looked. After a while, I was still drinking, and that took over my life, and eventually, the expectation was I'd go out, but then I'd get home, and after a while, I developed an eating disorder. I developed bulimia, and after drinking, I would purge because I just felt so guilty about what I had just done. That eventually turned into food. 3 or 4 times a day, I'd do that. At this time, I decided I wanted to lock in and start working out again, and I wanted to find the new shiny thing in the world. What was that going to be? That was steroids. I did steroids for a period of time. Obviously, don't do them. I'm not giving any advice how to do them. Sometime in my freshman year of college, I got into my first relationship. That ended very poorly. Didn't wait long enough. Got into a second one. Both of these relationships were lust-fueled and not Christ-centered. We continue to drink, continue to smoke, continue to party. The second relationship that I got into ended up being my downfall. This relationship, a trauma bond, ended up forming, and then unbeknownst to me, about a month later, I got broken up with in the most brutal way. And if you've experienced the trauma bond or whatever, you kind of know that it just it sucks. At this time, I'm still struggling with the body image stuff and all that. It just rocketed to the biggest thing ever. I wouldn't go to class. This is a few weeks. After sitting in pity for a few weeks, contemplating suicide a few times, just being in pity, I called my mom, and God bless my mom. The first thing that she said when I asked for advice, she said, "I better get my ass to church." Excuse my language. So that's what I ended up doing. I had been to Breathe. I'd been to PV a few times in the past. I was always one of those people, no discredit to you if you do this, but I would always sit in the back. I'd leave immediately and not talk to anybody. Those old habits stayed true the first time, but something else changed. That night, I couldn't tell you what Carl said, but I ended up giving my life to Christ on whatever Breathe that was. Thankfully, I came back the next week. I tried to do my same habits, sit in the back, leave again, not talk to anybody, but I was sitting alone. And Bryce sat down next to me, and he invited me to come to his VG. After that, I ended up going, and I made some lifelong friends. I started reading my Bible. My faith started increasing, just a complete 180. About 4 weeks after that, I ended up getting baptized, so that was really big. After I got baptized, it was basically the end of the semester, going into summer. The summer was really, really hard. I was basically a baby Christian, and my faith wasn't very strong. Over summer, I didn't really have a community to go to. None of my friends at home are Christians really, and I really struggled. But God stayed faithful, and I stayed faithful to God, and my faith just grew exponentially over the summer. Throughout all this, I still struggle with like the body image stuff. But then I came back to school, and I know God's working through me right now. Over the summer, I was praying. I just want like a good community of guys to hang out with, right? Godly men. That's exactly what the Lord has given me. I met some of my lifelong friends that I call my brothers now this year, and I'm moving in with some next year. So, I wrote to end off. I wrote a poem a while back over the summer, and it goes like this: "You are not the sum of all the bad things you have done, nor the things that people may place on your shoulders. You are loved beyond what the mind can comprehend, and are chased by a Creator that wants a relationship with you, a Creator that loves you so much that He sent His only Son to live a perfect life and die so that you may be free of the things that have defined you in the past.